He lived in my house rent-free, sold me safe profit, then spent my money on a hotel and a necklace. I got the receipts, called off the wedding, and the bank gave it all back. Ethan had been living in my house for 6 months without paying a dime, so we could stack cash for the wedding. The week I told him about my inheritance, he switched from sweet to salesman. He called it safe profit, said his buddy ran a simple buy low/sell high routine between two apps. No charts, no jargon. You won't lift a finger, he promised. I'll send you a weekly report. He insisted the transfer go to an account he managed to keep it tidy. He screen shared a neat dashboard with a green line drifting up and a balance column that looked like a calm lake. He had names for everything: bucket, float, skim, words that sound soft when you want someone to relax. He asked for a small starter to prove the loop works. It was a quiet Sunday. The washer hummed. A sunbeam sat on the kitchen tile like it had picked a side. I tapped send and he kissed my forehead, grabbed his gym bag, and said he'd be out of service for a few hours while he set things up. The front door clicked. The house exhaled. My stomach didn't. I forwarded the transfer receipt to myself and printed it. Paper is boring on purpose. I slid it into a blue folder and wrote one word on the tab. Money to BY dinner, he texted. All good. First pass cleared. Proud of us. I stared at the screen. Us. The word can hide a lot. His first report landed Monday morning. A one-page PDF with tidy rows, 3 green arrows, and a line that read plus 3.2% week to date. No dates on the trades. No order IDs. Just confidence. He added a thumbs up and told you. Low stress. I opened my own bank app and felt the hook catch. Alongside the transfer to his custody account were 2 same-day charges I hadn't seen before: Harper & Cole Jewelers and the Westford Hotel. Both cleared within an hour of my money leaving. He'd told me he was at the gym, out of service. The hotel charge listed a confirmation code. The jeweler had a phone number. I printed the statement and slid it into the money folder. Then I called the jeweler, voice steady. I'm checking on a purchase for a gift delivery, I said. The clerk, kind and unaware, read the slip. 14K necklace, heart pendant, engraving. S. My name starts with an M. I texted Ethan. What's S? He replied instantly. Supplier fee. We label everything weird to keep the bots out. Chill. 10 minutes later, a Venmo notification popped up on my screen from his account to Sierra with a sparkle emoji and 3 hearts. That night he said he'd be with the guys watching the game. I checked our Find My because trust is louder when it can stand proof. His stuff didn't sit at the sports bar. It parked near the Westford. I took screenshots of the report, the charges, the Venmo, and the map. I started a simple timeline on a legal pad. Time sent, time spent, time lied. Paper doesn't argue back. It stacks at AT 12:37 a.m. He slipped into bed smelling like hotel air and mint. He whispered, big week ahead, and turned away. I stared at the ceiling fan until the blades blurred, then set an alarm for 6 o'clock. If he had a plan. So did I. I was at the bank when the doors unlocked. A coffee cooling in my hand and the money folder under my arm like armor. I asked for a full statement that included pending items and the little details the app hides: merchant addresses, memo notes, timestamps that don't round to the nearest minute. The teller printed a stack and slid it across. Ink doesn't flinch. There it was in black and white. My transfer to Ethan's custody account. And within the hour, charges at Harper & Cole Jewelers and the Westford Hotel. No gaps. No blur. Can you add login history for my online session from yesterday? I asked. She pulled it up on screen and read the times back to me. My own morning check-in, and later, a late-night view from my phone. No activity I didn't recognize. Good. If there was tampering, it wasn't through my side. I hole-punched the printouts and clipped them into the folder. A stack that made a shape. Next, the jeweler. I walked in pretending to be the kind of person who knows exactly what she's doing. The bell chimed. The glass cases glowed. I'm checking on a gift that might need a card, I said, letting my voice be warm but vague. The clerk smiled, looked up the receipt, and read the line I'd already heard on the phone but needed on paper. 14K gold heart pendant. Engraving. S. She offered a gift bag. I accepted the printed receipt instead and slid it into the folder before my hands could shake. Then the hotel. I didn't ask for secrets. I asked for clarity. A confirmation number landed in my statements. I sat at the front desk. and I want to make sure my account isn't being used. The manager checked the code, compared it to the last 4 digits on my card, and confirmed a same-day room charge to Ethan's account. With a note in the system, VIP late checkout, Sierra. He wouldn't give me a copy. Hotels have rules. But he did write a service note for me stating, confirmed charge with guest's name on file, signed with his initials. It wasn't a smoking gun. It was a hot trail. Outside on the sidewalk, I opened Venmo. Sierra's full name was in the profile, Sierra Nolan, a moon emoji, and a feed that wasn't locked. Her last few entries told their own story. For late checkout, phone case and gas. You spoil me. Hearts on hearts. I tapped her profile picture, public. In one photo, she wore a delicate heart pendant that caught the light like it knew it was being watched that I didn't rage scroll. I saved screenshots of her profile, the pendant photo, the timestamps. A quick search on her page showed Westford, tagged in a story highlight, 2 champagne flutes, and a skyline I recognized. I wrote down the date and compared it to my transfer. Same day, same hours, same lie. Back home, I made the kind of lunch you can eat without tasting. Toast, an apple, the routine that keeps your hands busy while your head organizes. I spread everything on the table like a map. Bank statement, jeweler receipt, hotel service note, screenshots. I drew a timeline down the center of a yellow pad. 9:42 a.m., I sent money. 10:13 a.m., jeweler charge. 10:28 a.m., hotel authorization. 11:05 a.m., Ethan, out of service at the gym. Evening, guys' night. Midnight, hotel. On my locator. 1 a.m., mint and lies that I sent the hotel a polite email to confirm the manager's note, because paper that lives in inboxes can outlast memory. 10 minutes later, a reply landed. As discussed, we confirmed a room charge on the date in question under guest Elaine. Note on file referenced VIP late checkout, Sierra. I printed it. The way you pin butterflies when you want them to stop pretending to be birds. Then I did something small that mattered. I opened my bank app and set a daily alert for any transaction over $50 on any account linked to my name. Not because I intended to be surprised again, because I refused to be late again. By late afternoon, Ethan texted a selfie. Him and 2 guys I barely know, a pitcher of beer, a TV in the background. Game night boys only, he wrote. I checked Find My. His dot sat at a different address for 15 minutes, then hopped 3 blocks and settled near the Westford again. I took a screenshot and wrote mask on, mask off in the margin of my pad.at dusk. My email pinged once more. Thank you for your purchase. Harper & Cole, a digital receipt routed through his account but tied to my card, with a gift message field blank and a pickup time stamp for the same hour he'd been out of service. I printed it and slid it under the jeweler's paper like a twin. The house got dark, and I didn't turn on the lamp. I sat in the soft gray and listened to my own breath learn a new rhythm. If he wanted to call this us, then us would meet him on paper. No shouting. No cornering a liar who thinks louder means truer. Just facts in a folder and a clock that keeps perfect time. When he finally came home, keys jangling the way they do when someone wants you to hear them, I had my plan ready. Not a fight. A meeting. In daylight. With the folder between us like a mirror that I asked him to meet before work at a cafe with windows that let the truth in. I set the money folder on the table and let paper speak first. Top sheet. My bank statement with the transfer to his custody account. Then same-day charges to the jeweler and the Westford Hotel. He smiled like a customer service rep. Said the jeweler was a supplier tag. The hotel was a meeting room. The timing just noise. I slid the printed jeweler receipt across. 14K heart pendant. Engraving. S. He didn't flinch. Said the S stood for success. A corny inside joke about our profits. I placed the hotel manager's note next. VIP late checkout. Sierra, and his smile twitched. That's the event coordinator, he said. She handled the room. He tried to keep his voice warm, his shoulders loose. Like this was a misunderstanding a hug could fix. That I added the Venmo screenshot. For late checkout, Ethan Sierra Nolan, and the find. My map sitting on the Westford while he was supposedly with the guys. He went for volume instead of cents. Said the Venmo was a placeholder, the location a GPS glitch, the report I'd questioned, just a summary to keep it simple. I let him stack excuses until they fell over on their own. Then I took out the one page I'd held back, The screenshot from Sierra's profile. There she was in a mirror selfie, last night's story highlight, wearing a small gold heart pendant that caught the light just enough to read the engraving curve if you knew where to look. The caption said, "You spoil me." S. His mouth opened and closed without sound. He reached for annoyance and came back with silence. The cafe noise kept going, milk steaming, a register pinging. Because the world doesn't pause for people who thought they were smarter than stamps and time. I didn't yell. I pointed to the timeline on my yellow pad. Money out. Necklace bought. Hotel charged. Venmo sent. Pendant posted. That's not a loop, I said, keeping my voice even. That's a straight line. He tried one last switch. If I truly loved him, I'd focus on the wins and stop spying on his movements. I blinked at the word wins like it had wandered into the wrong room. Then I closed the folder and said the only sentence that made sense in daylight. We are done. He asked if I was overreacting. I stood, left enough cash to cover my coffee, and took the money folder with me. Outside, the air was clear in that way it gets after rain, even when it hasn't rained. I walked straight to my car, drove home, and started the part of the story that doesn't need speeches, just locks, passwords, and lists that I started with the things that don't argue, settings. In my bank app, one turned on alerts for every charge over 50, set daily limits on transfers, and added a rule. Any new external account needs my in-person approval. Then I called the fraud line and asked them to flag activity tied to Ethan's custody account. The rep read back my request slowly, and I wrote their name and the time on my yellow pad. Paper turns a day into a record. Next was the exchange he'd bragged about. I opened an account in my own name, not to trade, but to reach support. I sent a simple message with the transfer ID. Funds sent to user Elaine under the promise of managed trading. I request a temporary hold on. Withdrawals from that destination and an email copy of any withdrawal receipts involving my transfer. Within the last week, bots didn't answer. A person did. We can't freeze another user's account without an order, they wrote. But we can forward transaction receipts tied to your deposit and notify you of movement. I replied yes, so fast my finger hurt. At home. I changed the Wi-Fi password, logged him out of the router with one tap, and watched the little connected devices list drop his phone like a leaf. Then I walked to the front door and swapped the deadbolt cylinder. 10 minutes, one screwdriver, and a new key that matched the life I wanted. I laid my ring in the dish we used for spare screws and said nothing to the empty room. Rings don't need speeches either. By lunch, my inbox chimed with the first exchange receipt. Withdrawal request executed. 0.75 of deposit value to external wallet. Timestamp. Game night. Memo. OTCS. I printed it and slid it under the hotel email until the edges lined up like two frames on a wall. The second receipt hit an hour later. Gas station purchase via the exchange's debit card. Location 2 blocks from the Westford. I didn't need a detective. I needed a stapler. Click. Click that I logged in to find my one last time and took screenshots of everywhere his had rested the past week. Our house on weekdays. The hotel on Sunday. A jewelry store on the morning I sent money. Then I turned off location sharing. My chest felt lighter in a way that had nothing to do with air. The doorbell rang at 3. Ethan, bright as a salesman who thinks a discount will fix a defect. We got off on the wrong foot at coffee, he said, sliding his hand toward my door like it knew him. The new lock didn't. I stepped onto the porch, closed the door behind me, and let the sun be a witness. I'm issuing a chargeback on the custody transfer and sending your exchange receipts to my bank, I said. I'm also sending the hotel note and the jeweler receipt. If you contact me, keep it in writing. He laughed like a stage hand. You can't prove intent, he said. That I didn't smile. I held up the printed withdrawal receipt with the memo OTC, S, and my yellow pad timeline where every line met a timestamp. I don't need your intent, I said. I have your pattern. He tried the step-in move, the sigh, the soft, let's not burn this down. I kept my feet planted and my voice level. Leave the key on the mat, I said. You don't live here. He set a metal shape on the welcome mat like a dare, then thought better and slid it under the edge with his shoe. You're throwing away a great thing over bookkeeping, he muttered. Bookkeeping kept me from throwing away my life, I said, when he was gone. I took a picture of the key on the mat from my folder, then picked it up with a paper towel and dropped it into a zip bag labeled returned. I sent my bank the exchange receipts, the Venmo shot, the hotel email, and the jeweler receipt in one tidy message titled Dispute Package. Then I forwarded the same bundle to myself, to a cloud folder, and to a new email I created just for this mess. People can vanish. Paper shouldn't. As dusk pushed the light down the hall, one more message arrived from the exchange. Final movement notice. Remaining balance converted to fiat and spent at Harper & Cole Jewelers. Receipt attached. Same store. Same day. Same S. I added it to the stack, took a deep breath that finally reached the bottom of my ribs, and wrote 3 lines for my own fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. Locks changed. Accounts alerting. Folder wins. The house held. The plan held. And for the first time since Sunday, the silence felt like rest, not waiting. I spent the morning turning feelings into forms. At the bank, I filed a dispute for the transfer to Ethan's custody account, attaching my dispute package, the exchange withdrawal receipts, the hotel email, the jeweler receipt, the Venmo to Sierra, and my yellow pad timeline. The rep scanned each page, stamped the claim, and said I'd get updates by email. Boring words. Beautiful music. Next, I emailed Harper & Cole Jewelers. Charge on my card not authorized for a third party. Attached, receipt and bank claim number. Please hold fulfillment and share pickup signature when available. 5 minutes later, their manager replied. Order picked up yesterday at 5:12 p.m. Signature attached. I opened the image. Ethan's quick, careless scrawl. I printed it and slid it under the first jeweler receipt like a confession. I filled out the Westford incident form the manager had sent, summarizing the charge, the note, VIP late checkout, Sierra, and the time it hit, an hour after my transfer. He replied with a polite promise to cooperate with my bank. That's the thing about paper. Even strangers will help it stand up by noon. The exchange sent a third movement notice, the last of my deposit converted to cash. Swiped at the jeweler again for a balance due. Same store, same day. I stapled it to the others. A line of metal jaws closing around a story that thought it could stay soft. I set up a simple folder in the cloud, named What Actually Happened, and uploaded everything. PDFs, screenshots, emails, even a photo of the key Ethan slid under my mat in a zip bag labeled Returned. I shared the folder with myself only from a second email, because copies keep truth from getting lonely. Then, without apology, I canceled the venue we'd reserved for the engagement party and sent one clean line to the coordinator. Event canceled. Do not share my contact with Mr. Lang. She replied received and removed his name from the file. A door quietly shut. My phone buzzed. Sierra Nolan had posted a story. Public, glittering, careless. She stood in warm hotel light, wearing the gold heart pendant, tilting it toward the camera so the engraving curve flashed. Caption, Best Sunday. Late checkout, early love. The timestamp sat in the corner like a witness. Same hour my transfer left. Same building I'd marked on my map. I screen recorded the story and grabbed a still frame mid-tilt where the heart caught the light just enough to trace the S. I printed a single page with 2 images. Left side, her pendant. Right side, Harper & Cole receipt showing heart pendant. Engraving. S. I wrote the date above both and slid the page into the money folder like a final piece snapping into place. My bank emailed an hour later. Claim opened. Temporary hold on disputed amount. Not a win yet, but a rope around the right post. I set 2 alerts. One for bank updates, one for any new exchange receipts. Then I turned my phone face down and made a sandwich I could actually taste. At T3. Ethan sent a paragraph about miscommunications, how perception isn't reality, how he could make this right if I stopped listening to strangers. I replied with 4 words. All contact in writing. He tried again, longer this time. Wounded tone, we scattered everywhere like confetti. I didn't answer. I forwarded the thread to my folder and blocked his number everywhere, but email. Lanes close faster when you stop leaving detours open. At dusk, Linda texted me from her own number. Are you okay? Just 3 words, no lecture. I told her I was canceling the engagement and handling my accounts, full stop. She replied, if you need company, say when. I put the kettle on and didn't cry. Tea tastes better when you make it for yourself. I ended the day the way I wanted the rest of them to feel. Lamps on, doors locked, papers aligned. I wrote a fresh sticky for the fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. Dispute filed. pickup signature in hand. Her story gave me the time. The quiet didn't feel like waiting anymore. It felt like next at BY morning he'd built a parade with no permit. Mutual friends started texting in careful tones. Had I overreacted? Had I misread a business dinner? Could I hear Ethan out? One sent a screenshot of his long post in the guy's thread. I'd sabotaged his pilot. He'd been testing a model for us. I'd pulled funds mid-trial. He called Sierra a vendor liaison. He used we like duct taped at 18 noon. He showed up on my porch with a bouquet big enough to tip a vase and a speech that circled like a drain. He never said sorry. He said, miscommunication. Optics. You made me feel cornered. He reached for my hand. The new deadbolt kept the door between us like a spine. I stepped outside and closed it behind me. Leave the flowers by the steps, I said. They don't come in. I didn't argue about feelings anymore. I did paperwork. I put the ring back in its box, took a photo of it next to that day's paper for the date, and sent a short email to him titled Engagement Terminated. The time. The reason. Use of my funds for personal spending and a hotel stay with another woman. The bank dispute number. And the line, all contact in writing. I CC'd myself and Mr. Ellis for the record. Then I sent one fact-only note to our shared circle. We've called off the engagement. I discovered my money was used for a hotel and jewelry for someone else. I filed a dispute. Please keep me off any group plans with Ethan. No adjectives. No autopsy. Just the bones that he tried to control the tone by volume. A new message rolled through the guy's thread blaming jealousy. Promising he'd make everyone whole. Asking for a small bridge loan so he could restore the float. He dropped a link to a shared doc named Trust. Rebuild with a goal number at the top and 3 bullet promises that all said nothing. Then, my phone lit with a DM from Lucas, the only one of his friends who ever stacked chairs after parties. You should see this, he wrote, and a screenshot arrived from another chat Ethan didn't think I'd ever see. Same day, same pitch, different title, Sierra Stability Fund. Under it, lines that yanked the curtain. Need to keep S. Calm through this. Shoot me 100 to 200. I'll settle her hotel balance and gift. I'll square you when Mia stops freezing accounts. A second line hit harder. She owes me for 6 months rent-free. This is just evening it out. I read it twice to make sure my eyes weren't inventing the worst version. They weren't. The bouquet on my step looked suddenly like a prop he forgot to take back to the rental house. I thanked Lucas. Saved the screenshot to what actually happened and forwarded it to my bank's claim thread with a single sentence. Pattern of misuse continuing after dispute. Within minutes, the rep replied received and attached it to my file.at sunset. I put the ring box, his spare charger, and the hoodie he kept by accident into a small cardboard square and printed a return label addressed to his co-working space. No home drops, no drama. I slid the box onto the outgoing shelf like a story I was done carrying. He called once more from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail and saved the audio without listening. People can rewrite words. They can't unstamp time. Before bed, I wrote 3 new lines for the fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. No porch speeches. No shared threads. No funds for lies. The house felt steady again. And my circle, the real one, got smaller and stronger by a name. At BY midweek the answers started lining up like chairs after a party. Bank emailed. Temporary credit applied while they review my dispute. They'd flagged Ethan's custody account for pattern checks. Jewelers replied with the pickup signature, his rushed initials, a timestamp, and the make/model of the pendant. Hotel sent a short note confirming the charge under Elaine and the front desk notation, VIP late checkout, Sierra. I printed everything and slid it into the money folder. Paper doesn't clap. It just agrees that I sealed his spare key and ring box photo inside a manila envelope labeled returned and dropped it at the mail counter. On my porch, the spot where his bouquet had wilted looked like a stage after the lights go down. At noon, an email landed from a fresh address with a subject line that tried to sound tall. Legal notice, immediate action required. Inside, Ethan, writing in third person, threatening to involve counsel if I didn't unfreeze our funds and retract defamatory claims. No letterhead, no firm, just angry grammar. I replied once. All communication through your attorney of record. Provide name, bar number, and case reference. He answered with more noise and a Google Doc titled Settlement Proposal. that wanted me to resolve this privately by releasing the bank claim and co-signing a statement about misunderstandings. He even attached a selfie of the two of us from a month ago like nostalgia. Could sign a form that I didn't argue. I forwarded the thread to my bank rep and to Mr. Ellis with a single line. No counsel attached. Demands noted. Then I attached the page I hadn't used yet. The exchange receipt with the memo that started his whole story collapsing. OTCS. Date: the Sunday of my transfer. Time: right before the hotel charge. I wrote across the top in pen. All roads lead to Sierra. 5 minutes later, Ethan tried a new angle. You're ruining me. Just unfreeze the money so I can fix it. He called my dispute a misunderstanding and the receipts out of context. I sent one sentence back. Context is a timeline. Then I muted the thread and blocked his new address. That evening, the bank replied again. They'd requested supporting records from the exchange and the hotel and would extend my temporary credit if Ethan failed to respond with proof. The rep added a line that made my hand stop shaking. Your documentation is thorough. I changed the Wi-Fi name to something that felt like closure, NOTYURFLOAT, and stuck a small label on my front door lock that only I would notice. New key, new rules. Before bed, I set the money folder next to the what actually happened folder and closed both like two good books you keep in reach. Then I wrote 3 lines for the fridge under Grandma's lemon magnet. Bank, credit in place. Jeweler plus hotel, confirmed. His lawyer, a Gmail. The house stayed quiet in the right way. No more door speeches. No more sudden dots on a map. Just a room that knew who paid for the lamp that kept it warm. By breakfast, Lucas came through again. He forwarded a fresh screenshot from a side chat where Ethan had rebranded his begging into a pitch. Sierra Stability Fund. Same goal number, same guilt. Need 100 to 200 each to calm S. Till Mia unfreezes the float. I'll square you once she stops making this illegal thing. Under it, a selfie of the heart pendant against Sierra's collarbone and 3 fire emojis from his buddies. I saved it to what actually happened and wrote the only caption that fit. He didn't stumble. He built this. The bank emailed before lunch. Temporary credit extended while they collect third-party records. They thanked me for the timeline and noted Ethan had not provided any proof to counter the hotel and jeweler confirmations. A second ping landed from the venue coordinator for our engagement party. Per your notice, Ethan Lane is removed from all communications. We will not share your contact. Doors that once felt sticky finally shut clean. I sent one last fact-only note to the friend circle. No adjectives. Just bones. Funds left my account Sunday. Same hour. Charges at Harper & Cole in the Westford. Receipts. Pendant with S engraving. Hotel note. VIP late checkout. Sierra. Exchange memos. OTCS. Claim. Filed. Temporary credit in place. Engagement. Ended. Please exclude me from plans involving Ethan. Replies split the way truth does. Some quiet. 1, sorry I believed him. 2, that never arrived. The room got smaller and kinder. Near dusk, a new name hit my inbox. Sierra Nolan. No sparkle emojis. Just a line that read like someone who'd run out of pretending. I didn't know he used your money. He told me it was a bonus from a pilot and that you were on board. I have messages if you need them. 5 minutes later, the files arrived. Screenshots of Ethan's texts. She'll never notice the float. Late checkout on me. Keep the pendant pic private till this blows over. Under one thread. An older line. 6 months rent-free buys me some leverage. I thanked her without making her my ally. She wasn't my enemy. He was. I saved the screenshots to the folder and forwarded them to the bank's claim address with 6 words. Additional proof of personal misuse attached. The rep replied received with a case update number and the sentence I'd been working toward all week. We have sufficient documentation. Review moving to resolution. I shut my laptop and stood at the sink in the kind of quiet that doesn't ask what comes next. The chalk lines from the weekend were still faint on the walk. The maple threw its late light exactly where Mark always said it would. Inside, I set the money folder and what actually happened side by side and closed them like 2 palms touching. Tomorrow would be for finishing. The last email, the last lock. The last line I wanted to live with. I slept with the phone in a drawer and the porch light doing its small, useful work. The bank's email arrived just after 9. The subject line, so plain it felt like a dare. Case resolved. Inside were the sentences I'd been building toward all week. Full reversal issued. Merchant credits in progress. Exchange receipts accepted as proof of personal misuse. Claim closed in my favor. No fireworks. Just money coming home. I boxed the last of his things. Charger, hoodie, the gym key he forgot to return, and taped the manila envelope marked returned on top. I snapped a photo with today's paper in frame and dropped the box at the shipping counter. Paper beats performance every time. Point one more email to the friend circle. The final one they'd get from me on this. Bank. Refund approved. Case closed. Receipts. Hotel plus jeweler plus exchange memos match Sierra. Engagement. Ended last week. Items returned. Going forward. No shared events. No side chats. No bridge loans. I didn't ask them to choose. The facts did it for me. Ethan tried one last subject line from a new account. One more chance. Inside, he wrote about love that survives mistakes, asked me to start fresh, promised transparency like a discount code. I answered with the only sentence that belonged on paper between us. I believe what people fund. I archived the thread, changed the last password that still remembered him, and set the money folder beside what actually happened on the shelf above my desk. 2 closed spines. 1 open room. Outside, the maple kept its shade appointment on the steps. I made coffee, opened the windows, and let the house breathe the kind of air that doesn't have to prove anything. That we weren't a cautionary tale. We were a boundary with receipts. Thank you for watching this story on True Tales Hub. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our next story. That we post new tales twice a day, and each one comes with unexpected twists you won't see coming.